Good morning, gladiators. Welcome. It is Friday, September 11th. Today, let's go ahead and go through our folders. So we will click on week September 8th through the 11th of 2020. You will click on Friday, September 11th. All right, so for today, we're going to be learning about the difference between urban and rural. So when you think of urban, think of suburban, the suburbs, right? Think of the area that you live in. The area that you live in is considered a city, right? You see schools, you see libraries, you see restaurants, you have highways, you have options to go to the mall, the movie theater. You can even go bowling, ice skating, right? You could go to football games. There's so many things to do in the urban areas. And that is because the city is about city life, right? It's about city living. So the best way to remember it is think about where you live, right? Have you ever heard of the subdivision, right? The subdivision, those are a bunch of homes. It's an urban area. It's different types of homes, but it's a whole bunch of people living in one area, right? The difference between urban and rural is this. In a rural area, we're talking about country living, not leaving your country like you're coming from Mexico, Iran, Iraq, Europe, France, nothing like that. We're talking about country living out over towards like Kyle, Bandera, Texas, Buda, Texas, even some parts of the valley where there's a lot of land, open land, farms, cows, horses, chickens, roosters, right? And then think of the space between neighbors. So you have rural area where you have people that maybe your next door neighbor isn't really next door, right? They might be acres away, possibly even miles away. A rural area, it's possible that you may even have maybe one or two small stores where, little mom and pop shops where you can go and buy your groceries. Maybe you have to drive a distance to go to the city to go see a specialty doctor, right? We talked about this a week ago where in a rural area, you probably have one doctor that lives in that town, that works in that town, and kind of takes care of everybody. But they usually are just family practitioners, family medicine for coughs and colds, fevers, things like that, upset stomachs. But they don't really specialize in a certain specialty. So many times people that live in the country get sick as well. Maybe they have diabetes, maybe they have heart issues, right? So this means that they would have to go see a specialist. They'd have to go see someone outside of the town and drive into the city. This is one reason that many people tend to leave the rural area, the country living, because they don't have access to all that. They don't have access to the malls and all the restaurants and the store options, right? Sometimes maybe they like having neighbors right next door to them, or just the doctor themselves. If they have serious medical issues, it might not benefit them to have to drive back and forth. So it might be easier for them to live in the city. So that's the difference between urban and rural. Okay, so let's look at our slide for today. Okay, oops, let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. Where did it go? Okay, so you're going to review the slides, but for some reason the slides are not here. Where are the slides? Oh, here they are. Okay, I'll move those up in a bit. All right, so what are the effects of the environmental modification? So think about how we are building things we're building things in the area to make it better, right? To make it more urbanized. So earlier I said that rural means countryside. So this will give you a good idea of what I mean, right? Look, you have cows and horses, you have a lot of land. Here you could tell there's a neighbor here, but the neighbor's kind of distant. You have crops, you have huts, right? This is also a rural area. There's a lot of land in between. The urban is all about urban means city, right? It's about the city life. It's about all the glamorous buildings, the schools, the doctors, the malls, right? Where you can have social life, right? You can go to the movies, you can go bowling, you can go to football games, right? So that is urban life, living in the city. Now, there's a difference between migration and immigration. Okay, so let me help you understand. Migration means it's the movement of people from one area or region to another. The best way to remember is like this. Think of ducks, right? Or birds, right? They tend to migrate. They leave when it's super cold from the north and they fly south, right? They're migrating towards the south and then they go back, right? So they're moving back and forth from area to area. They don't stay in that area, they go back, right? So migration means that. It means that they are leaving one area and they're moving to other areas. Okay, they're just migrating, they're moving, right? And it's possible they may even go back to where they came from. Okay, rural to urban migration. So again, this means that they're moving from country to city life, right? And there's push factors and there's pull factors, right? A push factor might be that something is pushing them out, is pushing them out of the town. In the beginning, I said, well, they don't have access to education. They might not have access to specialist physicians. They might want to, have their kids go to a college or a university. Or maybe they're just tired of just shopping in one small place. Or think of it like this. If you're talking about city life, country living, it's possible there's not a lot of jobs there. So many might even say it's time to move. Maybe the crops aren't growing because it's constantly dry. We're not getting enough rain. This will push people out. Okay, it pushes them out of the rural area. Then you have a pull factor. So think of it like this, right? You are pulling someone in, right? So you're, come on, like, come here, come live here, right? These are things that they find gets your interest, right? This is better jobs. You left the country living, the rural area to go to the urban area because you want a better job for your family, right? You want to improve your living conditions. You know that you're sick, so you need to see a physician with a specialty, right? You want to be around friends, you want to have neighbors, you want to go to the mall. So these are pull factors. These are things that are pulling you, that are saying, "Oh my God, like I can't say no. Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna move in." Right? You want to go into the city, all right? So these are some examples. You have push factors where there's few services, there's not a lot of opportunity, right? Uh, Unhappy life. I'm not saying that living in the country is an unhappy life, but sometimes if you are in the farming industry or there's not a lot of jobs, you probably will become unhappy. I'm sure there's a lot of happy people living in the country, so I don't want you to think that that's the case. But you have to think about what would push you out to want to leave there, and it would probably be that. Okay, natural disasters, shortage of food. Then you have your pull factors. These are access to services, better job opportunities, more entertainment, improved living conditions, or maybe even your family lives in the city. Okay? The history of urbanization. So what you're going to do is you're going to watch this video. The video is going to show you how the cities have urbanized and how it continues to grow. Okay, listen for the positive and negative effects of urbanization. Is it always best to build in a city? Some people may say that it's not always best, right? They might say, well, it could be, but now we have pollution. Now it's too crowded. We have way too many students in one school, or the traffic is bad. The lines are longer. So there could be a lot of negative effects to building in the city. Okay, here's another video. You're going to also watch this video. So what happens to our planet as more people move into cities? So as we continue to learn, and even when you learn in science, you're going to learn about fault lines. The more and more we build, the more and more we dig. Are we messing with those fault lines? Right? All the drilling, are we pushing the earth so much that we're shifting it? Some people tend to think that that's part of the reason why certain areas have earthquakes. It hasn't been proven, but some people tend to say that. Oops. Earth has become. Uh-oh. Okay. All right, and that is your PowerPoint. Then when you're done, you're going to go to the Google Slides and Google Forms, and then you're going to answer the questions. All right? Okay, my angels, we'll talk about this briefly during our synchronous learning. Please come on. If you haven't had a chance to complete your quiz from yesterday, please do that as well. We will see you soon. Have a great day.